Trump's True Crimes, Episode 15, The Family Fortune Heist. Before there were indictments, before there was The Apprentice, before the red hats and rallies, there was a heist. A quiet, calculated heist. Not pulled off in the dead of night, but in plain sight. And the victims? The American taxpayer, Fred Trump. Even Donald's own family. This is the family fortune heist. Fred Trump wasn't flashy. He was a brick-and-mortar builder of the old school. He made his money in post-war New York with government help, building low-income housing and raking in federal subsidies. By the 1990s, Fred Trump had amassed a fortune worth hundreds of millions. And Donald? He wasn't waiting around to inherit it. He was already draining it. At first, it looked like support. Fred co-signed loans, guaranteed deals, bailed Donald out. But behind the scenes, the Trump children were funneling money out of the family empire through fake companies, inflated invoices, and under-the-table transfers. One of those fake companies was called All-County Building Supply and Maintenance. It had no office, no employees, no trucks, no actual supplies. What it had was markup. Donald and his siblings used All-County to bill Fred's buildings for maintenance supplies at jacked-up prices. Then they pocketed the difference. The scam worked. Year after year, millions moved from Fred to his children without triggering gift taxes. And that was just the beginning. Properties were transferred from Fred to his kids at absurdly low prices. A $41 million apartment complex was sold to them for $1.9 million. Then it was reappraised, suddenly worth tens of millions again. In total, the Trump children received at least $413 million from their father's empire, much of it tax-free and much of it hidden. The public was told Donald was a self-made billionaire, but in reality, he was a tax scam baby, living off his father's fortune since he was 3 years old. This wasn't a mistake, it was a system, a deliberate, years-long campaign of tax evasion, fraud, and deception. And the IRS? They barely blinked. Why? Because most of the crimes had passed the statute of limitations. The New York Times laid it all out in 2018, in a Pulitzer-winning investigation. But by then, it was too late. No charges, no restitution, just silence. Mary Trump, Donald's niece and a trained psychologist, wasn't silent. She sued the family in 2020 for cutting her out of her rightful inheritance. She accused them of fraud, conspiracy, and betrayal. In her book, Too Much and Never Enough, she wrote, Donald Trump didn't simply cheat the system. He was the system, corrupt, hollow, and built on a lie. The myth of Donald Trump, the self-made mogul, was never real. He didn't build an empire, he looted one. From his father. From the tax code, from his own blood.